Every day, America Online is making it easier for people to live, work, and play.
When we installed internet access on our computer, I got the whole family involved.
A new place for the user to prove.
Just what is this main artery of the information superhighway?
Stop, you beautiful bastards!
No matter how large, no matter how small, we'll be on the internet in the year 2000. It's the primary way that people will look at information.
Shut up!
When we were there.
Hello and welcome to When We Were There, Biased Internet History. I'm Thomas.
And I'm Josh, and this is a podcast all about the history of internet content, the who's, the what's, the where's Waldo. We get into it all.
Whether you like it or not.
I think Thomas is really going to like this episode, as we're just kind of going down a list of Thomas's childhood heroes. We got another one. Who do we got today, Thomas?
Mr. John Digital Fear Graham.
Hey, John, how's it going?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on the pod, man. We're just slowly getting through everyone who's made Thomas inspired as a child.
I mean, that's super true, actually.
Yeah, it really is.
That's
yeah,
no joke.
Yeah, we're just going through a list until Thomas has met everyone, and then we can commit group suicide together.
Yeah, if you're into that, if you want to join us on that. So far, we have F&D Films, and
I think that's about it.
Yeah.
No one else has agreed to the group suicide but them.
That's true. And Cooper, actually, he was like really game. He was like trying to get in on it.
Just
it was
do
supposed
it right
to just
away.
be you and I, and then he was like, "Oh, I want."
He wants in, yeah. So we'll all do it one day at a park. It'll be a fun time. But to people listening to this who don't know who you are, who are you?
My name's John Graham. I created a YouTube channel in 2007, 2008. I created a video called Master Chief Sucks at Halo that had a Master Chief from Halo action figure come to life and play the Halo 3 beta. And it was meant to satirize the frequent behavior online on broadband console gaming at the time, which was hilariously volatile. And I wanted to make fun of that, to have, and to sort of to take the Master Chief character from Halo, who's this very stoic character, and kind of turn that image on its head and have this toy version of him represent everything that was terrible about playing with people online. And there was a lot of swearing, a lot of bad words, and ended up going viral because it was very stupid.
I mean, yeah. No, but it's funny. So, because obviously, whenever we have a guest on, we always like to do like a refresh or like a deep dive on their stuff. Because I haven't watched Arby and the Chief in years. Just being candid. But going back and watching the original stuff, it's like a perfect time capsule of that era of the internet, with like all the like the elite speak and like definitely the gaming community. I don't know if they're still like that. Are they still like that? But
gaming community,
yeah,
no, it's not what it used to be. No, everyone's
I feel like they've chilled out a bit.
Everyone's a lot more careful about what they say online these days.
Yeah,
you can get canceled now.
Anyone can get
screaming
canceled.
in Fortnite.
Right.
Yeah, PewDiePie lost his TV show.
That's true.
Yeah, no, but it definitely, like, me going back and watch it kind of took me back to that time. Like, you're using MSN, you're on GameFAQs. You know, it definitely does work as just like a perfect little time capsule of what that era was.
Yeah.
Even just seeing like the Halo 3 beta and like, oh, there was a time where Halo 3 didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
we had
so
to get
weird.
it on like Crackdown. I totally forgot about that.
I remember playing Halo 2 on like a friend's TV that had like the built-in VCR and DVD player. And it brought me right back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Your friend had a built-in VHS and
DVD player on the TV. Yeah,
so they were loaded, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, they were loaded. They had a 3-story condo.
Okay.
I wasn't making that money. I had like broken VHS money.
Well, you were a child, so.
Well, yeah, I had no money. Yeah, no, but it's pretty cool that like that kind of blew up super quick, and that kind of put you in a position to have like a lot of opportunities where like you've worked with Machinima, Rooster Teeth. Like, did you expect it to go that viral when you made the initial video?
No, God, no. I did it just purely as a hobby, and I thought, hey, this will be funny. Like, I think this is funny, so maybe the internet will think it's funny. And I was fairly new to the internet at the time, so I just made it to see what would happen, and got like millions of hits. Yeah.
Yeah, which is it's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how old were you when that happened?
Oh, just 20 or just 19, 20.
Yeah, imagine that would be insane.
Yeah.
For I don't know. So I know you went to film school, but was that after starting Arby and the Chief and stuff?
That was after, yeah. I had
Okay.
a huge interest in like writing and film and comedy way before I went to film school. And yeah, I had a mini DV JVC camcorder, and
Yeah, that sounds
Classic.
about right.
yeah, and Pinnacle Studio. I was already making dumb little movies with like Halo 2 and stuff, and I thought I'd try something like that was a hybrid of live action and gameplay. And
I think that's part of why it blew up, because I as far as I'm like, I don't even know if there's still anything really like that, but it was definitely, I think, the first.
right, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I always thought it's a neat idea, even if it didn't take off. Like I thought it was pretty cool. Master Chief Sucks at Halo, and it caught on, and I made 2 sequels.
Yeah, the puppetry is
Yeah,
crazy.
that's what I was gonna
like
bring
going
up.
back and watching it. Like even just like having him use the controller or just use the computer. It's like his arms are in such sequence. Like how are you moving that like that?
Yeah.
Well, that was based off of a film called Child's Play that came out in the late 80s, I think. It's a horror movie.
Oh,
Chucky.
I know about Child's
Yeah.
Play. I was scared to go in that section of Blockbuster because I'd see the scratch up face and lose my shit.
Yeah. The way that was filmed was a real inspiration for what I ended up doing with Arby and the Chief. Like, you'd film the characters waist up and
Yeah.
then like go out to wide shots for whenever they're not moving.
There's one specific shot. I can't remember if it's in Arby and the Chief, or I think it's in Arby and the Chief, but it's at one point where you're like, I swear to God, you're holding and operating the camera, and then Master Chief like hoists himself up onto a counter, and it's like his arms articulate, like, and actually it really looks like he pushes himself up, and I'm sure you don't remember how you did it, but it's like
I
blows
just
my
think compared
mind.
to like other action figure articulation stuff, like I'm a Marvel and I'm a DC, like stuff like that, where it was just like vaguely moving the person under the screen. Like I think you definitely brought a different level to it, which probably was one of the things that led to the success as well.
Yeah. Oh, the shot you're talking about, I've done that quite a few times. So it's a really easy trick where the footage is just reversed, right? So
Oh no
so
shit!
this,
That actually makes
this is a
total
counter,
sense.
right? And this is Chief's arms. It starts like this, and I record me just pulling down on his arms, and they bend up like that,
Yeah.
and then drop out of frame, and then I'll just reverse that shot so it looks like he's climbing up like that.
That's actually really smart.
Yeah, but I think what you notice about people in the early days of YouTube that did get success is there's like a level of giving a shit that a lot of other people didn't have. Like the fact that you even went to film school later on, like you clearly want to make like movies, you clearly want to write and produce. And I think, you know, a lot of other people that might have been messing around with machinimas or even just like puppetry is sort of on the internet is just kind of fucking around.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I know you hate the video of the like your guide to making machinima.
Yeah.
But it is kind of, there are some true points to it where there's a lot of like just lazy shit being made, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It would, where people aren't like, cuz again, this is the part of the show where we just like really just fucking
shit on other people.
shit on other people and brown nose you for a bit, and then later we'll hit you with some disses. But
That's good with me.
no, but like I feel like because going back, I watched some of the other shows that I used to like back in the day too, like even Red versus Blue for a long time. I like the cinematography wasn't as composed, it felt like, and like watching like say Deus Ex Machina,
Mm-hmm.
like that show has a lot of actual like well designed shots and like visual storytelling, which a lot of machinima just didn't have.
Right. Thank you.
But it felt like to me.
Yeah. That was
So,
something I
you
always
can-
paid a lot of attention to. That's for sure. The framing of everything. I had an interest in cinematography as early as I can remember, like growing up watching movies, and like the movies that I really liked as a kid fascinated me, and I'm like, why do I like these movies so much? And I would rewatch them again and again and study them, study each shot, like what is it
Nice.
about this that's so compelling, right? And then once I started like shooting stuff, then it's like, you know, you do it 100% the best you can, or just don't even bother, right? So every shot I was really attentive to, like every little detail, like the right down to the pixel, like what the frame looked like. I took a lot
Yeah.
of joy. I found a lot of joy in that process,
Definitely. And I think like that's really shows looking back at it. Like that for me, that's what rings like the loudest is how well directed and composed they are. Because like a lot of the humor, it's so 2007 like
Yeah.
random like leet speak shit that like doesn't really stand up anymore today, in my opinion. But the actual construction of them still, I think, is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I told you we are gonna hit you with some disses.
Going in hard, Thomas. You said later.
That was later.
I guess.
Yeah. No, I got, like you were saying earlier, that praise for the show acting as a time capsule. I get that a lot. Like, it captures the vibe of what it was like to game online, like broadband console gaming in that time, the language that people were using, the technology.
Yeah.
And I'm as aware as you are that people don't use words like noob anymore. Like that was that was when I first logged on to GameFAQs, and I went on Smash Brothers Melee's forum asking how to unlock Sonic and Tails, and someone called me a noob. That was in 2006. I'm like, what the hell is a noob? And then began my journey down the rabbit hole, I guess.
Descent into madness.
Yeah. Studying online culture, and then, subsequently making fun of it in the show.
Yeah. Well, and like even like Josh said, like I don't know what it is. I guess just MSN is such like a crucial part of my childhood that it just I forgot like how it looked like, and that for me was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
The fucking blast of nostalgia right there.
Yeah.
Or even just like the idea of like messaging a friend, just like shitting on them the whole time, just ending it with something as wholesome as like, okay, but do you want to play Halo? Like just stuff like that. I don't know. It's so of the era, and I think it's cool to see that like it got so much success. Like, how did you initially get linked up with Machinima? Because our last episode was an MCN episode, and we do have a lot to say about MCNs, but we want to know like what was your perspective being a part of one, and
yeah, so I made Master Chief Sucks at Halo, went viral. That got the attention of Machinima because they were a small team at the time, and they were looking for content creators. And they reached out to me, and that was on a very exciting point in my life, because I'm like, hey,
yeah, absolutely. Geez.
Like I just made this dumb thing right out the gate, and like I didn't think much of it when I made it. I just thought it was funny. And it got all this attention that I wasn't expecting. And then the Machinima thing happened, and I just got swept away, right? I was just like, oh, this is cool. They want to pay me to make more of these? Like, yeah, dude, sure.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah. And the idea of like developing my own show and getting paid for it. Yeah, that was really cool. And my relationship with Machinima obviously deteriorated over time,
as I think most people's do with multi-channel networks that sort of kind of try to take advantage of them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, candidly, if you want to know what I think of MCNs, I think they're bullshit.
Yeah, that's our perspective.
Yeah, we agree with that. That's what our episode was about, is how they just are terrible, predatory things, and you don't need them.
Right. I think Machinima was a bit different. I might be wrong about this, but they weren't just they were an MCN, but they had like dedicated creators as well. I don't know if that's something that's typical to like multi-channel networks where they have a team of people producing original content. They were trying to build that at the time, and they picked me. I was one of them anyway. And I went over to Los Angeles for a few days. I got to see the city and the office, the people I was working with remotely. That was really cool. And yeah, and so I had made Master Chief Sucks at Halo 1 and 2, and then I got hired by Machinima, and then I made a third one for them for airing on their channel. And then I developed Arby and the Chief after that. Because like having done 3 of those Master Chief Sucks at Halo things, Arbiter, the character of Arbiter was actually featured, I think, in the third one. But or maybe it was
he's
the second
talking to him in the second one.
It starts in the second, where they're online talking. And then in the third one,
yes, right.
He's, I don't know if the action figure isn't there.
Yeah, I know I made it, but this is going back quite a ways.
Oh,
of course.
And we just watched them.
Yeah.
So, in Master Chief Sucks at Halo 3, his inclusion, I think, is he's holding the camera at the end, filming the TV for like Master Chief's like cool Halo montage.
Yeah.
Where he gets like the snipe and he's super stoked.
The Limp Bizkit soundtrack. Or no, Linkin Park.
Exactly. That's
right,
Linkin
yes.
Park. Yeah.
Ugh.
Crawling in that fucking song.
Yeah.
That was in every YouTube video for a period.
Right.
That and the Papa Roach song.
Last resort. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and you'll have noticed that scene with Arbiter, he's kind of dumb like Chief. Well, I think you notice it like when he's talking to him over MSN Messenger, like the way Arbiter talks. The implication is that Chief and Arbiter are as dumb as each other. But I realized that if I wanted to like develop this into a series, that Master Chief would need a foil, right? Like somebody like the straight man, and then I could do like a comedy double act where like you have Arbiter who's like the kind of moral center, who's like rational and thinks things through and speaks, eloquently, and then Chief being the polar opposite of that and bouncing them off each other. So that was the root of like creating Arby and the Chief.
Which is funny because even now, like playing Halo and stuff, like that dynamic still feels like that's the truth in my mind. Because of like your videos. When I just feel like Chief is like a dumbass now.
Yeah.
It's the only way you can see him. Well, I mean, I guess like you were making him as a satire of the representation of the people who were playing as Master Chief.
Yeah.
So there's some truth to that.
Yeah, I guess so.
So when you made Arby and the Chief, at that point were you with Machinima already?
Yes.
So did they own the IP at that point?
Well, I don't know. It's a gray area because like they're Microsoft trademarks, obviously. Arbiter and Master Chief, the characters.
Yeah.
But my show is a parody of that, and Machinima owned the parody. So yeah, I guess.
Yeah. And I guess that's why you just re-released them on your channel.
Well, yeah,
because Machinima died.
They no longer exist. Like, that was quite something to observe. Like, because Machinima was quite big, right?
They were huge. Yeah. They were like in the top 10 most subscribed.
Oh, for years and years.
Yeah, years. Like at least in gaming, they're usually even number 1 a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And it's weird to like see a fallen titan like that.
Well, it's funny because, I mean, they got absorbed by Fullscreen, who owns Rooster Teeth, so it's like all coming back together.
Yeah.
All the gaming stuff's under one umbrella now.
Yeah. So was that how you were able to put it on your channel? Is just that when Machinima was still a presence, did you not own the rights to be able to put it on your channel at the time, or no, it was still kind of a gray area?
Well, I was trying for months to get them on the phone.
Yeah, geez.
Like, because eventually, towards the end of the show, they didn't want to work with me anymore. I guess because the views were dwindling or whatever. There's partly my fault, partly theirs, and I don't think it was ever because I let the show get bad. I think the show definitely changed like around like season 5. But I saw it as an evolution of the show. But the view figures, I guess they weren't happy with, and they knew I was working hard on the show, but I guess they didn't want to work with me anymore. And their way of dealing with me was just no longer responding to my emails.
Very professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, jeez.
No kidding. I was pretty salty about that. And so I tried to get him on the phone for months. Eventually, when I threatened legal action over email, that got their attention. And then they got back to me. And I was on the phone with someone from their legal department he was the only guy still with Machinima that was there since the beginning. And no one else at the company even knew who I was.
Jeez.
Yeah. So there's that one guy left I was talking to in legal, and he's just like, yeah, put it on your channel. Go ahead. And I'm like, God,
That's all it took.
I've been trying to get this answer from you for months, and it was this easy. Like, are you kidding me? I was so mad. But
well, yeah, it's such a weird thing to be like, your employer just isn't getting back to you.
No, right.
Yeah.
About like your job. And well, I mean, I guess that's kind of why they ran themselves under at the end of the day, is like if I mean, Machinima doesn't really have the best reputation now, much like other MCNs.
No.
But I mean, if this is how they're practicing business,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair. I mean, yeah. I don't know. A lot of people have been outspoken about them not being the best company and treating their creators very well. So, it doesn't come as a shock to me to hear that that's the case.
Well, hearing a lot of like Me Too stories from there as well, like.
What? Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, there's been a couple. I just don't think it's breeding the best environment. And I guess if they're just gonna not respond to one of their bigger creators,
Yeah.
it's probably not a.
Was the Deus Ex Machina like also one of their shows that you produced for them, or do you?
Yeah, I did. I
Do
think
you still have any interest in making that?
me personally, no. I mean, Deus Ex Machina, that was something I created. I mean, a long time ago as kind of a cinematic experiment where I was ripping off a bunch of movies that I really liked, and using scores from like soundtracks from movies that I didn't have any permission, but it was the Wild West back then, the internet.
Yeah.
In terms of like copyright.
It's crazy what people used to get away with.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it was a site where you'd upload like Family Guy episodes and shit, like at the very beginning. And I don't know. I mean, in my old YouTube videos I made back in the day, I used any type of music I could.
I straight up uploaded a Family Guy clip like that, like when Stewie kills Lois. I like cut that together as like something, and then ripped some South Park music from Imagination Land, the like cool guitar music, and I like put all that and uploaded it, and it was fine.
Yeah, you could get away with anything.
I got a shitload of views actually. But yeah, I guess. Well, I guess you probably have just put that cinematic energy into Arby and the Chief. Now,
Yeah.
rather than having it be a separate show, like your comedy show and your cinematic show.
Yep. And I make my own music now as well. I
noticed that actually.
I have
That
like
was
a
cool.
electronic score for most of my stuff because that's just the music I like making. And eventually I got sick of paying for licensing fees for to use tracks. And then even after I bought the licenses, you use them on YouTube and they get flagged anyway because the system is broken and stupid as fuck.
Yeah, jeez.
So like if you just end up with every upload, you're just swatting away fucking claims. And eventually I just got tired of it. I was like, fuck you. I got to do this every time. I'll just make my own music. Fuck it. Sorry, can I swear on this show?
Yeah, and if you can
Sorry
exercise.
if I shouldn't be swearing.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've been swearing the whole time. It's all fucking
Yeah,
good.
no, you're good. Yeah, but through Machinima is like how I know I've seen a couple of videos that you're in with Rooster Teeth. Were you working with them or producing anything for them as well, or is it more just collaborations that you're doing with them?
It's just like the couple videos, right?
Yeah, that was a one-off collaboration. We made 2 shorts together.
But how did that like come about? Because that was a crazy moment for me as a kid. Because I had already been watching your content, already watching Rooster Teeth, and then you were just in one of the videos one day. I think that was actually the first time I saw your face, because I remember that was a big thing too. Is you never showed your face.
Yeah, and then I had
Back in the
hair.
day.
Goddamn Gary Busey.
Yeah, you did have hair. Yeah, the Gary Busey bit is so.
Yeah.
funny.
So that was we had a mutual contact who lived in Vancouver, where I am, and this guy would also visit Rooster Teeth, and Rooster Teeth would coordinate with him whenever they came to Vancouver for an event called RVB Ken West. So it was like a film festival thing where not only independent filmmakers would come together and show off what they're working on, but Rooster Teeth would kind of headline the event and show off whatever it was they were working on that year. And the mutual contact of ours suggested, he was a friend of mine, and he said, hey, like, you guys should work together or something. And eventually, yeah, it led to exchanging emails with Bernie, and yeah, I flew down there to work with them for a bit, and that was a lot of fun. Enjoyed that. There's a part of that question I'm forgetting. Maybe you can tell me if
just if you produced anything with them.
Oh yeah, so the two short films, right? Yeah, and one of them was a Gary Busey one, and another one was about video game piracy. And yeah, I remember I got there, and there's a bit of confusion because I wasn't really sure what to do with myself when I flew down there, and they showed me around the studio, and that was really cool. But eventually, Bernie's like, okay, I got to get some work done. Like everyone just went off in their offices, and I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
I guess I better use my time here to, I'll just write ideas down. I don't know, just think of something funny.
Yeah.
And so I was writing ideas, and the Gary Busey thing, somebody at what Rooster Teeth refers to as the bullpen, which is like where their editors would get together and work. One of those guys came up with the Gary Busey thing, and I didn't see the joke at first, so I was a little confused. Not until the process of actually shooting it and then seeing the final product did I realize, like, oh, okay, this is actually, it's funny.
Yeah.
Especially the Nick Nolte joke. Wait, he's just Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
He's so disgusting.
Yeah.
It's like, it's Nick Nolte.
A lot of that's improvised. Joel Heyman just threw that in, and yeah, that those guys, they're good improv guys. And so they you just have like a little idea, not much written on paper, but then you just go with that, and a lot of jokes just get thrown out on camera, and I like that energy. That was fun to make.
Do you know, were they aware of who you were and what you were doing before you flew down there, or?
They knew, but they hadn't watched. They weren't that familiar with my stuff, and I hadn't watched all of their stuff, to be honest. But I was obviously I knew what Red versus Blue was. I had watched the first season, and I was. The humor, I like the humor. It's a little bit tame for me. But I really respected what they were doing and how they managed to use that video game to pull off what they did. And that was a big inspiration for me, because I saw that and I was like, I can do that. Shit. And
well, definitely. I think also just their influence can't be understated. Without them, I don't think the modern machinima, well, maybe someone else would have done it, but they definitely were the first to really pull off something like that. So even if you don't love the show, same for me, I loved it as a kid, and going back and watching it, it's it's good. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's good. But the fact that they were able to make it and create that little empire is insane.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and yeah, actually, so you had seen, obviously, I guess, Red versus Blue before you started making machinima, and that was the inspiration.
That's right. Yeah. Gave me the idea for using Halo, and I was also a Halo fan, and so what?
That's another thing. Is
sorry, go ahead.
you're actually pretty good at Halo, hey?
Oh
Like,
yeah, dude.
what
I was lining up headshots like nobody's business. Even in Halo 1 with no auto aim, like I practiced that. And Halo
Yeah.
2, man, once like when you had the auto aim with the sniper rifle, that made it a lot easier.
you were just crushing.
Yeah, dude, but I can't do it anymore. I lost it. I lost the magic.
Damn.
You got to get that magic
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Quarantine is the time for that.
Maybe for Halo Infinite.
You got too focused on this film.
Yeah,
shit.
that's right. I'm off my headshot game.
Though, but it's actually like it actually adds to it though, because when you play as Arbiter and he's playing Halo and he's just crushing it, and it really adds to the joke where he's like casually just like talking to. I think this is the first episode, and he's talking about the heroic map pack and why he doesn't think it's very valuable, and just like being like just casually playing, but he's absolutely slaying everyone. It's pretty good joke that you wouldn't be able to do if you couldn't play like I.
Right.
I was not good at Halo.
No, I think the first machinimas I saw were, I don't know, maybe I was in this weird niche seeing this, but I think it got pretty big, which was like people would shoot something and then like layer over Dane Cook.
What are you talking about?
Oh no, it'd be like he'd be like, you know, weird Dane Cook sounds like, anyways, so I went to a drive-through and I was talking to the drive-through lady, and they'd like have like one of the Halo characters like in a car going into someone else like waiting in a window, and like they would.
That actually sounds familiar.
Yeah.
But like people would do like stand up, like they'd take other people's stand up and put it over a machinima.
Okay.
Am I the only person that saw?
I know
this?
what you're talking about. Yeah. I don't know if I saw
Yeah.
that specific one, but I'm very
No,
aware of like that style of like taking something else and machinimifying it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess fair enough. I'm sure you can look at that of like someone else's content and putting it over that is similar to like TikToks where people lip dub it over. Like it is lazy, but I guess it gets views.
Sometimes it can be done well. Like,
Yeah. I'm not saying I don't know. I'm always a fan of original content.
much like our derivative ass show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but we're talking. We're not lip syncing over someone else's goddamn podcast.
That would be kind of sick,
It
actually.
would be very sick, but we'll do that on the next one.
Anyway,
But like, yeah, how did you feel like a part of the community? Like, did you go to VidCon?
No,
Like
that I don't
Yeah.
fit in to that at all. I've never saw the appeal, to be honest, like of
Yeah,
stuff
fair
like
enough.
VidCon, and like I went to like I worked with Rooster Teeth for that brief amount of time, and then I would go to that RVB Can West festival that they would come and promote their material in every year. I
Yeah.
would do that, and that was as far. Like I covered E3 a few years on Machinima's behalf. That
Right.
Yeah.
was as immersed as I was in like the industry, I guess.
right. Did you feel like a YouTuber though, or were you like, nah, that's just where my shit ends up? It's not really like I'm not connected to YouTube.
No, yeah. I never felt like I was part of this YouTuber community. I still don't. I still kind of
Yeah.
feel like an alien in that regard. And there are other YouTubers I enjoy very much, but not very many of them, to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean,
fair
that's
enough.
fair. Yeah, I think even for us, like as time has gone on, the list of people
It's
who
whittled
are-
down.
It's very much whittled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is one of the things where you just don't feel like you align yourself with like influencer culture and like the crazy dumb shit that people will do just to, like get seen, or like feel like you have to make a daily vlog every day, or like go to all these fan meetups?
Yeah. Well, no, I never considered myself in that family because, well, I kind of have a problem with the label influencer. It's like,
Yeah.
why are you influencing people? What product are you pushing, and why? Is it because you got paid for it? Like, I wanted to make a show. You know what I mean? And not just like,
Yeah.
not just I mean, I do a podcast as well, but I didn't want it to be just that. I wanted to make something like filmic, like composed of shots and really carefully edited together, and like and written too. Like I took screenwriting really seriously, and I don't know many YouTubers at all who do that sort of thing. You know, I wish I saw more of that. To be honest,
it felt like, well, like Josh was saying, in the past, it felt like people who were big on the platform, a lot, like obviously there are vloggers and stuff who just were talking to the camera, but a lot of like the sketch comedy and stuff
Or
on the
people that
site.
just got accidentally big, yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of the sketch comedy on the site was like written and like thought out more, you know, like, and nowadays it's just it feels like a lot of that's like kind of dead in the water.
Yeah, I think one of the only other people I can think of off the top of my head that also put that sort of effort into is maybe like, I don't know if you know Corridor Digital.
I don't think so.
Did you ever watch like Freddie W, Rocket Jump, that sort of stuff?
Rocket Jump I've heard of. I don't know if I've seen it.
Yeah, so they're associated with them. They're like filmmakers, visual effects artists. And you know, same with that, like they're using like proper cameras and actually like using like proper lenses and proper equipment and putting effort into like, you know, every video that they put out, they want it to be the best. And you can definitely tell in the quality level. But like I can't really think of anyone else off the top of my head that like also does that. And I think a part of it is that the authenticity is kind of gone, but I think another reason is just like you don't have to do that to be big on YouTube. You know, you don't have to do that to be big on TikTok. You can just, you know, just hold a camera in front of your face, and be attractive and get away with doing it that way. You know, you don't have to worry about like cinematography or music or editing or screenwriting.
Yep.
When, you know,
and then get 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
And then people like me are going, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. Just sponsored by one of those like shitty watch companies.
Yeah.
And just shout that out in your video.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy.
Like, anyway, look at me put this watch by my ass.
This watch is so good when I twerk, it won't fall off my ass.
But I don't know, that's definitely what it like at least like the people that you see on trending are like these either vloggers or these people like these ex-Viners like Lele Pons that are just like clearly all this stuff is like written by a committee, and it's like the same sort of like cookie cutter, like, okay, we'll like shoot it on a DSLR and turn the saturation up and like put no effort into the takes, but kids will watch it. And if kids are watching it, it means we're making money. And like,
yeah,
I don't know, it is kind of a shame to see that now, whereas that is kind of the norm, or at least the stuff that is like getting promoted by YouTube itself.
Yeah.
Like this is what the platform is pushing, you know? Whereas before it seemed like they did try to push like up and coming creators or people that really did put like work into it.
Yes, I think the platform encourages, or not just YouTube, platforms, they all encourage very disposable media, where it's just like a one and done, click the button, hey, I'm here, hey, bye, click, and then just shoot it off, and that's a video. And I'm not saying those shows are bad, like that's fine. I want more people to make shows, you know, like.
Yeah, I feel like that happened a lot more on YouTube too. Like there were series, whether it be like, you know, somewhere in the vein that you were doing, like it seemed like every week a new fan series was coming out where it was like, okay, this is like something based on a medium that I love that I can like follow for the story. Yeah. And like people were making shows, people were like episodic stuff was actually coming on YouTube from these small creators that weren't just like fucking Jimmy Fallon.
The thing too is like now more than ever, like the average person like has the ability to just make like a show. Like you make your entire show basically by yourself, save for like voice actors, it sounds like, which is insane to think of that. Like think of even like when you first started doing Machinima, imagine like if you could see the amount of quality and output. Like the Arby and Chief episodes are like movies now. Like the newest one I saw is 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Yep.
And that's like so crazy that one person is able to do that by themselves. And the fact that people aren't, I mean, if that's not what you want to do, that's fine. People don't have to do that. But
it just seems like less people are making the effort to do that.
Yeah, and I feel like some people won't make the effort because they know it's not going to be seen. So they're like, well, what's the point of...
Or that the algorithm will just favor that like maybe 20-minute sweet spot.
Yeah, or even less.
Clickbait.
Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, it's just,
like you were saying, the it's people can make money taking the shortest route, and people will do that. Like, why work hard on a show when you can just do the one and done thing, hit record, be in
Yeah.
front of the camera, make money that way? It makes sense to me. But
it makes sense. It's just too bad.
yeah, the difference lies in, like, do you want to make content that's going to withstand the test of time, and do you want to leave something behind, that's going to be remembered? Like, that's what drives me, my content creation. It's like, I want to make
That staying power.
yeah, I want to make a show that has staying power, and people are going to remember me after I'm dead and be like, hey, you know what, he put on a good show. And and to watch it and rewatch it, something that, there's something there, and you can go back and rewatch the whole thing again and binge it. Like, I want to make something like
no,
that.
And I just, yeah, I mean, I'll go back to it and I'll stop beating a dead horse, I guess. But I just do feel like, yeah, there was a time where, like, almost all the people I was following on YouTube did have a series, did have something that was, like, ongoing, continuous. I remember, like, Indie Mogul had Nuka Break, which was, like, their Fallout series. And I think why I bring this up again is, like, it seemed like a lot of people that were doing this were doing it because they loved the art of filmmaking and telling a story. Like, they weren't making a ton of money, but you could tell they loved doing it. And I think that's one of the things that has really changed on YouTube is people are like, oh, this is a way I can make money.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, I want to be a filmmaker and this is how I can tell my story. I feel like that happens less and less on YouTube.
Yeah. I have no problem with people monetizing and making money. Ideally at the same time, you're making something, there's both. You're making something that's
you're proud of, at least,
that has staying power. Yeah. But everything's just so disposable. Like, PewDiePie, for example. I got nothing against PewDiePie. I like PewDiePie, but I watch one of his videos, I'm never gonna watch that video again. You know what I mean? Like, once that's watched, it's done. I wanted to make something different.
Totally. I also have a question about just your thoughts on machinima, like, as a whole, as an art form, and especially it seems like it exploded and was massive around, like, when you were doing it, like, back in the day when you were starting 2007 at like 9-10ish, and now I feel like does it even really exist as much anymore? Are there, like, creators that we should be looking out for in machinima?
I don't really follow other machinima creators. I've just always been focused on my own stuff. The term machinima, I kind of have a problem with, because, I mean, the contraction obviously is machine cinema, and I think if we're paying attention to those words, what that should encompass is everything from what I do to say what the latest AAA games are doing with their cutscenes. It's making cinema with a machine. But for whatever reason, that term is used in specific reference to fan created content who use, like, pre-existing digital video game assets to make a movie. I think it's a broader term than the way it's used. And obviously, further muddying the term is the company Machinima itself that took that word.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, is do you think it kind of ruined?
Yeah.
Like, Machinima kind of ruined the term Machinima.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you've got machine cinema, and then the fan-driven stuff, and then this company that takes that term, makes it its name, and then doesn't even make the fucking thing that's on the name.
Yeah, which is insane that they were just, like, chill to do that. Because, like, they didn't come up with that term.
Well, I as a kid, just when I first heard the term machine, like, I was watching Machinimas before, but when I first heard it, it was through the company, and for a long time I just assumed, well, that's just what the channel's called, And I can't imagine I was alone there. Like, obviously I know better now, but at the time, I think there's probably a lot of people that, I guess Machinima makes all these, like, Halo videos, and I think with that perception of it, I'm sure that's ingrained in a lot of people's head, and they don't really know this medium that's out there and what other people have done, putting in great effort, aside from just like, I guess it's a gaming network.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it lost focus on those independent, video game movie creators and just turned into a money-making machine where its focus was then on like big Hollywood companies and game developers, and just lost sight of the little guy. Wasn't about them anymore.
Well, I guess that's kind of YouTube in a nutshell now too.
Yep.
Like a lot of stuff on the trending page, if it's not like these TikTok influencer millionaires, it's like reality shows, or it's like Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel, any of the Jimmys really. Like that's the sort of stuff that's being pushed. And it's
You really hate the Jimmys.
I'm not a big fan of the Jimmys. I love the Conans.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
I just feel like, yeah, whether it be the platform itself, what it's pushing, it just seems like everything that is doing well is like super branded content or stuff that's coming from like traditional media. And I think YouTube itself has kind of lost sight of the little guy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like I wonder if part of the reason why machinima seems to have fallen out of vogue is, I don't know if there's a better machinima creator than Halo 3. Like, I guess that's not Halo 3 you're shooting in now. I don't know.
I use Halo
Is it?
Reach.
It's not.
That they're pretty
Reach.
similar. Their theater modes work very similarly.
Okay. But there's no Forge mode, is there?
In Halo Reach, there is.
Yeah. There
Yep.
is? Okay.
You got chumped, Thomas.
I didn't play
Ever
Reach very
since
much.
Well, you got
ever
chumped.
since Halo 3, they've all had them.
Oh, okay.
You look like you have an
I
egg
guess
on
I
your
look
face.
like a goddamn fool.
You have 7 eggs on your face, sir.
No, but I just wonder, because I feel like a lot of video games don't really lend themselves to machinima now. Like
No.
Bungie really worked in accordance with that, like to
Yeah.
foster that environment. Except I can't for the life of me figure out why they changed it from in Halo 2. If you were out of grenades and you held down the trigger, your weapon goes down. Perfect, makes total sense. You can raise and lower it easily. But in Halo 3, it's this weird you press like a whole bunch of buttons and have to jump to do it, and that I never understood why they changed that. Because now if you want to have a character have his gun down and then raise it, you have to reverse the footage,
Yeah.
and that just seems like, I don't know why they would do that.
Yeah. I mean,
They want you to be more creative.
Huh?
They want you to be more creative, Thomas.
I hate that. That's it just seems like they did so much to make machinima really easy to do and accessible, and then they did that shit.
well, a lot other games that tried to implement like a machinima type feature with at least a free camera mode,
Yeah.
they didn't really get it right. Because I remember one of the Uncharted games, might have been the second one, had like a machinima mode, but the camera just doesn't work because it's like the way the camera moves with the thumbsticks is way too jerky. Like with Halo,
Yeah.
it's really smoothed. Like the way it moves, the way it pans and tilts, and like the way you can punch in and narrow the depth of field to make it look like a portrait, so it actually looks like film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of other games don't do that, and Halo the camera is very smoothed out. That makes it ideal for filmmaking, and the interface is really simple. It's easy to use. Like that's why I like
Yeah,
working
just-
with it. Yeah.
It makes total sense.
It seems like something like GTA could have done something like that. And I
Yeah, actually.
Like
there's such a diverse world in GTA that I feel like they could have done something there.
I think kind of I think people have done GTA machinima.
Yeah, but
I
it
think I've
didn't
seen
blow
it.
up as much as like something like Halo.
There's just
Just the mechanics in it.
It's not as versatile.
yeah, GTA 5 at least has the Rockstar editor that lets you work with a cinematic camera, and it looks good, but it's a lot more complicated than working with Halo.
Right. And like you were saying before, people are gonna kind of go to what's easiest.
Right, exactly. That's why I did it. It's one of the reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you know it, and it's something you work with. But I don't know. I'd like to see a resurgence in machinimas with different games. Not to shit on Halo. It's always cool to see diversity.
And I know there are
It's like
good
an affirmative action for video.
there are good
games.
machinima creators out there working right now. I can't remember their usernames, but I get stuff tweeted to me sometimes, and I have a look at it. I'm like, wow, that was really cool. And I didn't know people were still making this. I thought I was the only one left, but
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you feel like you're kind of like the granddaddy? Oh, I guess Rooster Teeth is granddaddy of the whole world there, but like you must feel like kind of like a senior in the community.
I guess I didn't. I never really thought of myself that way. I just focus on the show. Just
Yeah, fair enough.
just each episode, just do the best I can. Hopefully, people like it.
How long does it take to produce like an hour and 15-minute
Oh well,
show?
I mean, the screenplay by far is the hardest part of it.
Yeah. Well, you're writing a feature film.
Yeah, and with these
Essentially.
last 2 episodes of season 8 that I'm working on, I wrote them back to back, so it's like 2 feature films in a row.
Yeah, Jesus.
And that took me. I mean, I've had this entire season outlined for like 5 years, and
Yeah. Fuck.
yeah, and it takes me months, like half a year at least, to like write 1 or 2 of these full feature length episodes. Like it's a lot of writing work, and that's not just one draft. That's like rewriting every single scene from scratch like 10 times over. And once the script is finalized, a lot of the work is done there, because the heavy lifting, because like from there it's just like following a recipe, right? It's all on paper. How do I just turn it into film? Yeah.
Right. And then I get you still do all the filming yourself in Halo.
Yeah, because that's not something I want to delegate. I'm a control freak with that sort of stuff. I want to edit it all. I want to have.
I guess you kind of have to be though when you're wearing all these hats.
Yeah, and like with comedy, like it's kind of like cupping water in your hands, where if you hand it off to another person, the chances that you're gonna like lose the integrity of
spill
it,
on them,
is pretty high.
Yeah.
And it gets the script gets written 3 times. You might have heard this, right? Once in writing, once in production, and another in editing. And and so I want to be in control every one of those phases. Yeah, and right down to the frame too. Like I have a really close attention to detail, especially with video editing.
I feel you on that. I mean, Josh can attest.
No. Thomas is an editor, and like pretty much for a lot of the stuff, like we're doing commercials right now, and it's like writing the copy to final. We do like to be able to have that whole thing, because even if it's for like a brand or someone else's thing, like I do want to be able to tell a story.
Yeah, and again, it's like you want to make something that like
you're proud of,
and also
say I did this.
I'd like to hope, like even for making a commercial, which is like kind of by definition a disposable media, I want to make it like the least disposable it can be.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in personal projects, like obviously, but I mean, it's something where like, I think when you have that mindset and you want to tell a story, you kind of have to be a bit of a control freak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I like telling stories, man. It's fun. Like, I would do it for free. Like I would just do it to relax, it's just brainstorming funny ideas and creating like a chronological sequence of dramatic events. Like I dig that. I love that process.
But I think that's what's also going to give you that staying power, is that authenticity, that like the fact that you actually love it and you're not just doing it for a paycheck.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's what's kept people knowing. Like even, we're talking to our friend Oliver about upcoming guests, and we're talking about you, and it's like, oh shit, he's a Vancouver guy too. Like stuff like people know who you are because you have this authenticity. You're trying, you're giving a shit about the product that you're putting out there. And yeah, maybe you get more views on doing some disposable TikTok, but I mean, that's just in a sea of content. Like you said, it's something that you'll forget about.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to watch a PewDiePie video again.
Yeah.
It's something that is doing well and you saw it for a day, but like, is someone going to remember that video? Is someone going to shoot the shit and reminisce with their friends about like, oh, old episodes of Arby and the Chief? Yeah, but will they do that with like, oh, remember that PewDiePie episode he did on Trisha Paytas? Like, no, like people aren't going to be like looking at that shit and thinking about that. And I think, like you said, that's what you want. You want to have something that you're remembered for. And I think you need to have that mindset of, I would do this for free to do that.
Right.
And now we have the moral of this.
There you go. But you verbalized it and you ruined it.
We're always searching for the moral every time.
Jesus, Tom.
And so this week's moral was that.
I think we got it the first time you said it. Now you're just...
And the moral of the Yusuf episode was that, like, if you guys come together with no hands, there'll be no conflict in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And the
We
moral,
talked about no, so you don't have to
moral
go
of
through
the
every
F&D
episode.
episode was like kill yourself as a group, and then that's better.
People can listen to these episodes.
What was the moral of the YMS episode? You said Hitler was having a bad day.
Do you know Your Movie Sucks? Another local
Yeah,
guy.
I do.
Yeah, he was a fun guest as well. I guess that was the moral, is that Hitler was having a bad day and my family's dead because what. Anyway, we're getting in semantics at this point. But something I did want to ask you before we wrap it up here is, you've been on YouTube for a very long time. Is there a certain period that you feel is your favorite?
No, not really. Because I was never in touch with like the YouTube community. I never felt like a YouTuber. I never went to a YouTube event.
Okay, let me ask you this then. What's your favorite frickin' movie?
My favorite movie?
Yeah.
It's
like the worst question to ask.
Yeah, it is.
For
Especially a
someone like
filmmaker.
me, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot.
Yeah, it's such a terrible question. That's why I wanted to finish with it.
Probably 2001.
It's a good movie. I'll take that as a good answer. That's yeah.
And then
that's
The
on my
Fox
list.
and the
One
Hound
of my
for
favorites.
completely different reasons.
I mean, yeah, I would.
I just think like so many amazing like filmmaking tricks that like really revolutionized not just the genre but filmmaking in general were in 2001.
Yeah.
Like whether it be as simple as like putting a pen on a piece of like plexiglass to like how they essentially did a form of projection mapping before there was projection mapping, like
Yeah.
I like when the camera was spinning.
that too. Yeah. but yeah, I mean, and I think it's kind of cool to see a perspective of what someone's favorite film is, because I think like, similar to what Kubrick did with the effort there is something that you've, taken yourself.
Well, even and I know we're wrapping up, but even just you mentioning that like a lot of the inspiration for how you shot Arby and the Chief was from Child's Play, it's like a cool insight of like, oh, that's like how that makes sense.
That's one of them too. Like I grew up watching a lot of British sitcoms, so a lot of the humor, like that's another ingredient that goes into the show.
Sprinkle Blackadder in
Yeah.
there, and Faulty Towers, and Monty Python.
Yeah.
Now you got a stew.
Yeah.
All right, well, I love just like ruining the ending of the episode.
Yeah,
It's,
absolutely.
my favorite thing to do is just like coming in, you're wrapping up, you're making it real nice, and
You shit all over
I
it.
shit on everyone. But I got to say, John, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate
It's
it.
great to chat with you and learn all about
Your process.
and machinima and the whole
No
thing.
problem, guys. Thank you for having me.
If for some reason there's on the off chance one of our small audience knows who we are but does not know who you are, where can they find you?
Oh, so John Graham on YouTube. That's my channel name.
No H.
No H.
In the
yes. John Graham.
Yeah. I thought for some reason you were saying like no H, like there's no, it's not John H. Graham.
John H. Benjamin on Twitter.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, and there they can find your podcast, episodes of Arby and the Chief, and other bits and bytes and
Yep.
stuff. Right?
Imaginativelogo.com. That's my website. You'll find everything there.
Okay.
Okay,
nice.
beautiful. If you want to find us, we are When We Were There Show on Instagram and TikTok. We're WW There Show on Twitter, though we never use Twitter. We are Friend Styles on Anchor FM, on Patreon, and we are When We Are There on YouTube.
Yeah, and we own friendstyles.ca.
Yeah, but
There's nothing on it.
there's
though.
nothing on it yet. We're holding up for friendstyles.com.
Yeah.
We want to have that real shit. Sorry, the rest of Canada. No need to shit on you, but .ca is a fucking joke.
The joke URL.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks so much for listening, guys. This has been When We Were There. I'm Thomas.
I'm Josh,
Josh.
and that was John. See you guys next week.
Bye.